Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. Do a quick dig video. I went to Florida to visit my dad last month, and got a day to my one day to myself, and ended up hitting up. Was it three? I believe it was two record stores. One of them is right there in. If you guys are familiar with Destin, um, my dad retired in Fort Walton Beach, which is right next to Destin, and so I went to Fort Walton Records or Fort Walton Beach Records. I can't remember what it is. And then there's another one about 35 minutes away. That the first time I went there 5 or 6 years ago was a really killer record store, and it's gone pretty far downhill at this point. I still find some decent stuff from there from time to time. The problem with that store is that move these around real quick, get these in the right order. The problem with that store is that they went from having about a 50-50 split, maybe even more. Maybe it was like 60 or 70% used, and then 30 to 40% new. And now it's like 95 to 5. And most of the used stuff that they have, I mean, 95% being new and like 5% being used. And about 50% of the used stuff they have is like thrift store crap. And then 50% is just the average $5-6 records. I did find a couple decent used records there, surprisingly. Because they had very little metal or hard rock, and I found a couple of good hard rock and metal ones. But in Fort Walton Beach, I always find really good stuff. That place is like, it's a pretty good mix too. They're probably like 70% used. They have a decent new selection too. But I always find some really killer stuff. They always have a really nice high end selection too. I didn't buy any high dollar records this time, but I have from them in the past. And just found some really. They always have a really good selection of metal, and they have a huge 7-inch section too. That I could spend hours going through. I wasn't in the mood this time, but they did something different this time, where I don't have a. Oh, I think I threw it away. So all of the really nice 7 inches they had that were in like really good condition and worth actually more than $1. They had them bagged, and they had a little cardboard thing at the top that was stapled above to the plastic, and it gave the price and the grade. And the upside of that is I didn't have to. Most of these were in that area there, and I didn't have to dig for them. The downside of that is I used to be able to buy most 7 inches with a picture sleeve. There were like $3, and most everything else was $1. And now that they've actually taken the time to look this stuff up, they didn't quite charge what they're going for on Discogs, but it was a couple bucks below that. So a few of these I paid like $10-12 for, which were legitimate prices for what I got. They were like $15-17 singles. But I did get some really cool stuff, and I got a few really killer albums as well. I'm just double checking to make sure I believe this all came from that store. Okay, so we'll start with the 7 inches. This first little bit here is all from Fort Walton Beach Records, which is the really good one that I went to, and the one that I go to every time I go to Florida. So I ended up picking up "Are You Ready" from AC/DC, off the Razor's Edge. The B side is "Got You by the Balls." This is the limited edition one that comes with the patch, and I mean, these are going for like 15, 16, 20 bucks with the patch, and I mean, they had it marked at 10, so I went ahead and grabbed it. One that I actually did dig through the A's and picked up a promo copy of "Back in the Saddle." Next up, this is one I hadn't seen before. I'm going to do another video at some point talking about "Against Me," but this is Sink Florida Sink and Unsubstantiated Rumor. When was this from? It doesn't say, but it has Tom Gable listed as a singer, so this has to be like pre 2014. No, this has to be like pre 2010. So this is an older single, but Against Me. Next up, this is a cool one. Heading Out to the Highway from Judas Priest with Rock Forever and Hellbent for Leather in the picture sleeve. This one, I couldn't remember if I had this one or not. And, this is one of those ones. I've got 3 copies of it, and I guarantee all 3 times. The bad thing about where I was the Fort Walton Beach Records. They don't have a good Wi-Fi signal there. Or my phone didn't get a good signal there. And I couldn't remember if I had this one. I must have done this before because I've got multiple copies. But this is first time and don't do it from New Order. This was just an upgrade. I already had a copy of this, but it was like $2.50, so I grabbed it. Way Cool Jr. and Chain Reaction from Rat. Way Cool Jr. is a cool song, but man, that's one of the worst song names ever. And then a couple of Guns N' Roses, Live and Let Die. What's the B-side? The B-side is a live version. And then Paradise City, which is probably my favorite Guns N' Roses song. And the B-side of this is... It doesn't say, and I'm not going to pull it out. Maybe I will. Move to the City. So Paradise City and Move to the City. So that was the 7 inches I got from there. No 7 inches from the... Man, I wish I remembered what town it's in. Is it Rosemary Beach? Is it that? I believe that I don't know if that's the name of the town, but Rosemary Beach is the beach in that town. So let's jump in. This is a really cool one. This is Beast from the East, 97 Underground. Was this from Boston area? Let's see if it says. Baltimore, I'm sorry. Baltimore metal. Really killer comp. I love stuff like this. Especially when I know a few of the bands. So Wrathchild, USA, Hell's Gates. Probably the best band. Let me see. Probably the best band that's on here. You've also got Snidely Crunch, which I hadn't heard of before. Mystic Force. I believe I have a Mystic Force album. Shockwave. Let's see. Mona Lisa. Horrible band name. Chapels. Child's Play. I do have the Child's Play debut. And Scarlet Angel. Really killer comp, though. Wrathchild, I mean, such a great band. I need to get their albums. That's one of those bands. I used to see their albums all the time. We were just talking about this on one of the streams this week. Records that I used to see the Wrathchild USA records all the time for like $8-10, and now they're like $40-50 records. And I used to see them all the time, so I just never grabbed them. I always found something else that I wanted more. And I would love to have those on vinyl at this point, and they've just gotten so expensive. Next up, one of the best. This is probably my 3rd favorite from Status Quo, but on the level. This is out of the sleeve or out of the plastic because I was just listening to this. Love this album. This is 70, 75 maybe. 74, 75. So. Next up, I just wanted a really clean U.S. pressing of this. So, the Uriah Heep debut is my favorite Uriah Heep album. I also really love Salisbury. I have this is actually a second or third, a later pressing. I have a first pressing U.S., a first pressing U.K., and a first pressing Italian. Maybe it's a later pressing Italian. The US and the UK version, the Italian's the same as the UK. Both have there's a different song. There's one song different between that one and this one. And my first US pressing, though, the jacket's beat, and it's just a rough playing record. I've played it probably 100 times, and it wasn't in the best shape when I got it. So I've wanted a really clean copy of the U.S. pressing for a long time, and I found it, and it was like $10, which was killer. Next up, a band that Scott Waters got me into. I've always been an Ian Gillan fan. I kind of stayed away from the Ian Gillan band, though, because it's more the jazz fusion. And over the years, I've just kind of he sent me a couple singles, and I dug them. And then I bought the first, the one with the blimp or whatever it is, with the kind of bumblebee color to it, and I really dug it. And then we were talking to Patrick, the vinyl archivist, on one of his streams. He played something off of Scarabus, and I really dug it. So I ended up grabbing that one too. A little ringware, but the vinyl itself is mint. It looks unplayed. So another cheap record there. I think I paid $6 or $7 for it. Next up, this is a really nice pickup. Not everybody's favorite, but I love this album. Deep Purple Stormbringer. This was a really good deal. I believe is it UK? Yeah. First UK pressing. This thing was pretty much stone mint, and it was cheap too, $15 or $16. And just sounds phenomenal. Next up, McAlpine, Aldridge, Rock, and Sarzo, Project Driver. Just kind of an upgrade copy. The copy that I have is well played. When this came out, I played the heck out of it. I don't pull it out that often anymore, but Scott Waters gave me a copy of Tony McAlpine's album. And I've talked about Rob Rock before. Rob Rock is one of my favorite singers. But it's such a killer lineup, and it was fun to spin this again a few times. And then last but not least, from this store, I can't remember if this is a second or third album from the Dictators, but Manifest Destiny. I got into the Dictators a few years ago, and I've just been hooked. They're so good. You got Ross the Boss, who, I mean, he just looks so kind of out of place with the rest of the guys, which is kind of funny. But man, killer album. The debut is my favorite so far. I've got 3 of their albums. So of the 3 that I have, my favorite. This one was Stone Mint, though. Had the little cutout right there, but the vinyl looked unplayed, and I just couldn't grab that one fast enough. And just slowly building up on that Dictators collection. And then this is all stuff that I got from the store in near Rosemary Beach. Let's see. So I ended up picking a few new records, and then I found 2 really cool used records as well. So the first one, this was a blind buy. It's No Remorse Records, which I'm a real... I like just about everything that they release. But this is a new band. I don't know if this is their first or second album. But this is Incursion, Blinding Force. Just kind of stereotypical, I would say second or third tier new wave of traditional metal. I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10. It's a fun listen. It won't be in my regular rotation, though. Next up, this one was kind of a big letdown to me. I can't remember where the guys are from. I looked it up when I got this last month, and there were a couple guys involved in other Americana bands that I really dug, and I was expecting this to be just really good Americana, and it's just not. There's a couple songs that were good. The whole album's just kind of mediocre. I don't remember a single song off of it after giving it a couple of spins, and I just don't recommend it at all. But it's the Pink Stones. You know who. This is their second album, but really not feeling it. This was the what do they call them? The record store, the independent record store exclusive. So it came signed by the band. It was like $21, and I looked at kind of the reviews, and the reviews were really good for it. Don't recommend it at all. And then the last new album, I was really shocked to find this one, but I was really happy too. This is one of the few Hammerfalls that I was still missing, and this is Glory to the Brave. They didn't have a whole lot of metal, so a couple of the, like this one, the Incursion, and these two I'm about to show, I was kind of shocked to run across. I mean, the metal that they did have was like your Metallica reissues, your Slipknot reissues, the Pantera reissues from last year or the year before, kind of standard fare stuff like that. Not anything outside of that other than these couple that I found. And then the last two that I found, this was really cool. So this first one, I looked it up because it looked like it was, it looked like it might be like new wave or something like that. And I'm going to do another video pretty soon. I've been listening to a lot of new wave, post-punk, early UK punk, that kind of stuff. And this kind of gave me that early U2 kind of vibe, or the just based on the cover. So I went ahead and grabbed it. It was like $6 or $7. There's a little damage to the cover, but no, that's just a sticker. So I could probably get that off. Anyway, it's a band called Xeno. You can barely see it. And then I got it home and started reading about it. And the singer is, and guitar player, or the singer? Maybe it's just the singer. I don't know if he plays guitar. Is Zeno Roth, who is Uli Jon Roth's brother. And Uli Jon Roth plays on a couple of my all-time favorite Scorpions albums. And I've been a fan of his forever. So I kind of expected it to sound like that. The guitar on here is really good. However, it is a good album. I'm not, if I was more, it's definitely AOR, the hard rock side of AOR, but it's AOR. And it's just a little bit too AOR for me. So if you're an AOR guy, I would highly recommend grabbing this one. If you're not, I would stay away from it. It is a fun listen. It was cool to listen to a couple of times, but like I said, I don't do there's like 3 AOR albums that I like, and that I'll listen to more than once or twice. So, and then last but not least, this was really good. And the funny thing about this is on the Vinyl Archivist live stream, we got into a discussion about this. Another Scorpions connection here. But this is Viva. What the hell is going on? Talk about a killer album cover. I love this album cover. And I grabbed it just based on that. It looks like metal to me. And it's really good. German hard rock, kind of bordering on metal. What's cool about this, and I didn't see it until I got it home, is the keyboard player is Barbara Schenker, who is Rudolph and Michael's sister, who actually just passed away. And that's the reason we were talking about her. It hit the news that she passed away and that she had played in a bunch of bands, and none of us had ever heard of her. Or so it was funny that I just happened to run across. And this is an album I've seen before. Just really good German hard rock metal, though. Really recommend checking this one out if you see it. Like I said, I got this one for under $10 or maybe $10, and definitely worth grabbing. So that's it. That was my Florida dig. That went a lot longer than I thought it would. That's it, guys. I hope everybody's doing good. I'm trying to stay on top of pumping out more videos. I've gotten so bad about it over probably the last couple of years. I'm trying to get back in the groove. So you should be seeing more soon. That's it, guys. I hope everybody's doing good. Take care, and later, VC.